Welcome, everyone, and thank you for listening to the Higher Calling podcast. I'm Pete Newsom, and this is a special episode today because I'm joined by Peter Perebski and Haley Horvath. So I'll let you guys introduce yourselves as team members of mine with Four Corner. So Peter, thanks for joining.
Yeah. Thanks for having me. Like Pete said, I'm Peter Perebski. I'm the director of operations here at Four Corner. It's good to have me on the show.
And Haley, welcome.
Hi, thanks for having me as well. I'm Haley Horvath, and I am the community manager here at Four Corner Resources. So I help a lot with the website and social media.
Haley and Peter both do a lot, and in particular, they have been working very closely with me as the three of us have embarked on a journey to change our website and produce content that really we think is filling a necessary void in the staffing marketplace. So we're going to talk about that. It's a big accomplishment for us, something that we're really excited about and relieved to have finished. And I would be remiss if I didn't mention that it wasn't just the three of us, but we had a team, and I won't name their names because I don't want anyone listening to go track them down and try to steal them away, but a very talented group that we worked with for search engine optimization as well as design and development on the site. And so they know who they are and we know who they are, and we'll keep it that way for now. But it's really been a labor of love for us, as I mentioned on the podcast with Ricky last week. So I asked if Haley and Peter would come on and talk a little bit about the changes that we've made and the content. And it's just something we're really excited about because we think that a lot of folks out there will benefit from it. So let's just start with that. Peter, talk a little bit about why we did this in the first place.
Yeah. So when I first started here, our website was very small. It was not even something that we really focused on. I believe it's been about 2 years or so now that we've been on this kind of web journey. Our first iteration of the site.
It's been 3, if you can believe it. Yeah, over 3.
It seems like just yesterday, but yeah, so 3 years since we first redesigned our site and actually decided to make a conscious effort to start putting time and energy into digital marketing, into our website. The first site was, it was great at the time for what we needed, and we learned a lot in these last 3 years. So we've now it was just time to grow. We needed to create a new site structure, reflect really how we've grown as a company, and to make it easier for us to build upon, going forward, because we've got a lot of ideas of things we want to add going down the road. So it was time for the website 2.0 version.
And it's funny how we did not start off with this in mind. When we began our marketing journey 3 years ago, it really was with a much different intention than what it's evolved to be. We did it for sales purposes, really, to generate new lead activity and to gain exposure in the market. And we sort of fell in love with the concept of what we could deliver to the marketplace. We brought Haley on board to help us expand this effort. And what it's become is an opportunity for us to share knowledge, to share our experiences, to share our expertise, because of the unique position that we sit in, being a staffing company in between job seekers, often who are our candidates, as well as employers, many of whom are our clients, and to see what works, what doesn't, and to share our knowledge with the world. And so that's in large part what this podcast is about. That's how Higher Calling was born. But we have a renewed, I won't say renewed because the commitment's been there, but we have an even bigger commitment than ever before to the content that we can provide. And it's really an exciting time. Haley, what talk a little bit about the content in terms of who we're creating it for. That's something that we spend a lot of time thinking about and preparing and planning for, but who's the audience?
Yeah, so I first wanted to start off by talking how we used to get 1,000 visitors a month to our website when I first started 2.5 years ago. And now we get double that in a day. So we first were starting out just going after hiring managers and job seekers. And now what we've noticed with our content, we can expand our personas and also go after recruiters as well as HR professionals. So right now we are creating a ton of blog posts and other podcasts just like this to help further their knowledge and help them hire the best candidate or help a job seeker get a job.
Yeah, that's really been a neat part of the evolution for us, where it did start off with us trying to build exposure to prospective clients out there, people who
That
would
was hiring managers and HR that was it. Like those are the only people we made content for.
Yeah, and even more narrow than that with small businesses in mind, because we thought that's who would potentially get on to Google and look for staffing services and recruiting help. But I think at this point, that's almost a secondary thought, right? Where we've realized there's such a big void in the market for quality content as a whole in this space, is that we've really kind of gotten away from, maybe it's not the best business idea from a staffing standpoint, but gotten away from trying to provide information just for the benefit of our staffing organization, but really just to share information with these different groups, right? So it's not just
some of our most popular pages are blog posts that we do on business casual versus professional dress, like things for that's clearly for a job seeker. That's not something a hiring manager is going to be Googling. So we saw that and we're like, hey, there's these other groups that they're finding us and they're coming to our website. So let's make stuff for them too.
And that was such a perfect example, because those things really found us. Not that that'd be silly or cliche, but when we saw that, wait a minute, we could talk about how to dress for an interview or how to write a thank you note, and we see that getting so much attention. That's really what helped us realize, wow, there's really a gap that no one's filling, that we think we can step into.
Yeah, absolutely.
So what do we change? What's new? Let's talk about that. We didn't really have a specific plan in mind, other than creating a bigger platform for us to grow from. But as we started this new phase, 6 months ago now, I think,
spring,
it's expanded into something bigger. So Haley, I'll let you talk about that, because we made a huge change that in terms of branding.
Yeah, so we got a new logo, we have new colors. So we went from a blue and a gold, and now we are at a purple and a green. So very different. It looks awesome. Big shout out to our graphic designer. And we also have everything looks new. Blog posts, podcast. We even have job descriptions as well, which is one of my favorite parts of our website. And everything you could possibly know about a job, we have covered in our job descriptions, from compensation to sample interview questions to the career path and certifications you can get. And there's a really cool feature on each job description that shows jobs near you of that job title. So if you're in Tampa, it shows you jobs in Tampa or LA. And it's really cool. And we've noticed when we first thought of this idea, we had some random job description like drone pilot just take off. And that is
infamous drone pilot job. Yes.
And it is one of our popular pages on our website. And so we were like, let's take this and run with it. So we are thinking of every job title we can possibly think and have all these pages for them.
Well, it's like, when that's one of my favorite areas on the site as well. And just, it's really cool because, you go Google, project manager job description, something like that. And it's going to come up in Google and you're going to find one site that it's got, that's going to have salaries and stuff like that. And one site that's going to have a sample job description. But if you're a hiring manager or you're a job seeker or you're an HR manager, they're all going to be different sites for you. We wanted to kind of take those together and have just one, and it's still a work in progress. We're adding, more jobs even now. But we wanted to have one singular place, and that's, that plus the layout are those are my two I think those are the biggest accomplishments of the site. The rebrand was kind of a little bit of scope creep. We were like, hey, let's have this website. We're like, well, we should probably rebrand the entire thing as we're like redesigning it. But those job features and just the new cleaner layout, it's great. And I personally, a year from now, I think that's going to be like probably the busiest part of our website.
Yeah, well, again, it is a recurring theme, at least for me, is that we're addressing things that don't otherwise exist in the market with the content. So, which is really refreshing. When we talk about staffing, differentiation at times is hard to come by. We all have the same candidate pool. We all use the same tools that are at our disposal. Now, how we go about it is very different, and we think the way we go about it at Four Corner is unique to what the vast majority of companies could do out there. But we're still a staffing company, as there are many others. And in what we've discovered through this is we're blazing a new trail. We're creating content that doesn't otherwise exist. And as Haley was saying, these job description pages are so much more than just that. Yes, it has the necessary information, but having local jobs for that job title, that skill area show up for anyone who visits a page, we're really excited about that. That was also scope creep, I think, from what we started with, but a very welcome change in addition to what we were doing.
We learned a lot through just through the building process. We're like, here's things we didn't even think of. It's been crazy just thinking about how we were to where we are now, and where we'll be even next year with the stuff that we're going to be adding to the site.
Yeah, even as a hiring manager, you can download these job description pages, and if you have a job that you haven't hired for before, you can download the job description and put it on your own website.
Absolutely. So this, if you come to our website for the first time, and at fourcornerresources.com, we probably should have said that by now. Everything's a work in progress with us, right? Even doing podcasts in a way that we put the right information out first. So we probably should have said the URL. But at fourcornerresources.com, the first thing you'll see is a section that gives you a choice to go to the area that is of greatest interest to you. So if you are a hiring manager, if you're a recruiter, if you're a job seeker, those options are right up there, and you can funnel into an area that will have the different links that we think you would be interested in. And I'll also jump onto what Peter said, that it is a work in progress. And to that point, we welcome requests for more information. And that is, we're so into it, I guess, is use a very scientific term, is that we want to not put a limit on any of the content that we provide. We're in a process right now of, for example, of reviewing a lot of vendor products and solutions that exist in the talent acquisition world. So we're going to share that information because we know there's always a need to have quality, up-to-date information on different solutions that are out there from a technology standpoint. So that's a section that we'll be adding in the near future. So it is a work in progress. While we're going to have somewhere between 400 and 500 job descriptions, and it's a disservice to call them that, right? Job pages that include the trends and the salary information,
job profiles, more.
And career paths and all of that. We have plans to add a few thousand more and over the next few months. So if you see something or if you don't see something that you think should be on our site, please let us know. We would love your feedback on that. And you can email us at hirecalling@fourcornerresources.com to share your feedback there. Peter, what's your favorite part of the site?
I mean, so I think that the vendor reviews are going to be my favorite once we get that. Honestly, right now I love the job description just because, like Haley said, that the feature where we have all of the jobs that get pulled based off your geographic location. That's something really cool. That was something our web developer was able to kind of help us out with. I think that's something that I think a lot of people are going to be very happy with. Sorry about that. My front door.
I think of the entire time since we've been virtual on Zoom with you. This is the first time we've recorded a Zoom that you and I've been on together, and B, the first time I've heard your doorbell ring.
Yeah. Of course, that's and it's funny because I even put a little sign out there because I told my wife that she would need to go around to the back door. So
I kind of want you to get it now. I didn't see what it was there. I think we're kind of all involved at this point.
So I've got my window here. It's one of the benefits of having your computer that's in the front office of your house. So
there you go.
But no, the job descriptions are absolutely my favorite right now.
What about you, Haley?
And the podcast pages are really cool. You can watch our video on YouTube, or you can just listen through Buzzsprout, and it's awesome. And we even have a transcript as well, and additional resources from what we're talking about. You can go to, if we're talking about resume tips, we'll even have 4 links to other pages in our website that you can go for even more information.
Yeah, and we certainly have to mention our blog articles. I think we have in the neighborhood of 400 articles up right now. I always
gloss over those just because they're always coming out. I'm like, it's just a given at this point. I'm like, the blogs are like a huge part of our site right now. So
yes, we have a new one every week, and we also do a refresh blog. So we'll take an old blog and for example, if we had 2021 recruiting tips, now we're going to refresh it to 2022 to see what changes between the years.
Yeah, it's an important thing. And really what is for anyone out there who's thinking of putting forth the kind of effort that we have in terms of creating content, the upkeep of it is something that we didn't necessarily anticipate or realize was going to be something that would take a lot of time and effort, but we want our information to be current. And so right now we're updating salaries for 2022. We'll talk about the hiring guide that we are just published in a minute. But as you add more jobs, as you add more articles, the need to keep them current increases. So that's part of our journey as well. So if you do think about creating content, make sure you have a maintenance plan on keeping up to date with everything, because time goes by pretty quickly and you don't want to have dated information on your site. So that's a big piece. So that refresh of our old blogs and making sure that the information is current is really a big thing for us too.
Yep. Yeah.
My favorite thing, I think, is just the colors and the way it looks. After not thinking about our colors or changing our logo for a very long time, it wasn't until our designer suggested it, and we kind of looked at each other and said, yeah, sure, why not? There's no reason not to. But once we started seeing what the site could look like and what our logo colors could look like, our old one started to look really, really dull.
We were like, we got to switch it over. We gotta change this site out, as we've got like the staging site that we're like working on that's in our live site. So when that switch came over, I know you were relieved.
Yes.
The colors are bold and I love them.
A little more of a modern look for us, that's for sure. And we think that's appealing to a bigger audience. So anything else on the website before we talk about the hiring guide? Because that is also something very new and exciting for us.
No, I mean, I think we've kind of gone over everything. There's a lot on there, more than we could, even cover right now, and a lot more to come. Like you said, the one that I can immediately think of is obviously the vendor reviews, but we've got a couple things in the works that we're going to be, adding to it. So, if you're listening to this, make sure you check back over the coming months. We're going to be having a lot more stuff going on there.
Yeah, and we expanded our services so everyone can read exactly what we do for each, and as well as the industries and departments that we recruit for.
Yep.
You can tell who the marketing person is here, who keeps bringing us back to let's not forget to talk about the things we actually do. So Haley, thank you for that. And so check it out. And if you want to stay current with the new things we do produce, then please subscribe. If you go to our blog section, there's a place, an opportunity to enter your email address, and then we'll have you on our list. So you always have our current information as it is produced. So let's switch over to the hiring guide, which, unlike last year, which was our first edition of our hiring and salary guide, we actually produced this one before the turn of the year. I think we tend to have ideas that that grow. I guess maybe that's a thing to realize is not just an anomaly, and they tend to take longer as a result, because when we do something, we want it to we do each have new things that we want to add to it. And of course, we want to make sure it's done right and the information is really good. So our hiring guide, our first edition, came out last year, and I don't think we published it until February. I think it was already into the new year. So we learned from that, and we on Thanksgiving week, we published our 2022 hiring and salary guide, which is a whole lot better, I think, than our first one.
It's great. I mean, it's
bigger, bolder.
The layout of it, everything. We learned from stuff that we did in our first one and added to the things that people liked, and with our new rebrand as well. It's very clean. It looks great, and it's informational.
So talk a little bit. Let's talk about what's in it, just to give a preview. We won't give away everything, but what could someone expect, Haley, from the hiring guide this year?
Yeah, so we first break it down to recruiters, hiring managers, HR professionals, and job seekers. And we give a few tips and some trends that are happening for each persona. And then we go into our specialties. So our departments or industries such as marketing, IT, call center, admin, and we go further into those trends and some in-demand skills for each of those departments, and as well as compensation for a few major cities around the US. And then the very last part of our guide, we give both interviewer and interviewee tips for virtual interviews.
Big thing right now, to say the least. That is something that we felt was really necessary, even though we've, I think, talked about it in previous podcasts. We've written articles about it. It is becoming such a prevalent part of what makes up the workforce, and it's an evolution. It's companies are figuring it out as they go. I was at a conference 2 weeks ago, and one of the main topics there was how to manage culture when your employees are virtual. What does culture even mean in that instance? So we want to make sure as we go forward, it's going to be a recurring theme for us. So we want people to have the latest and greatest when it comes to handling virtual interviews, virtual employees, virtual team building, virtual culture, all of it. And we wanted to include that as a special section in the guide this year as well, because it's such a hot topic. Peter, what do you think that for anyone who may benefit from this, what do you think they'd get out of it?
So I'm glad you brought up the culture thing from the conference that you were at, because what we're seeing is things that our recruiters are seeing, that our client managers are seeing at our clients. Those are being echoed across other industries. So somebody in this is gonna. I personally like the forward higher facing trends, the sections based off of each industry in there, that because I think that a manager who picks this up is gonna learn that the differentiation outside of the office, because of of the world we're in now and going forward, that differentiation outside the office is going to make the difference between them. It's no longer enough to say what's great about your company. They have a job. That's the job. The labor market is tight. That's the name of the game right now. And I think hiring managers, the savvy ones, are coming around to it. And people who read our guide are going to see that as well. And I think that's just going to reinforce that, because in the past, where you had a physical office, you could tout, we've got a ping pong table in our office, we've got vending machines, whatever. Now it's a lot, what's to differentiate your company from another company? And I know that's a conversation that you had multiple times with managers. They're trying to figure out how are we different than our competitor? How are we going to get the good, the top talent? I think that the employees, they want the work-life balance, the well-being, they want to feel valued, really. And that's something that HR managers who pay attention to our content, to our hiring guide, that's what they're seeing. And that's what we're hearing from, our clients as well, as the ones who are succeeding are the ones who are putting that extra effort in and focusing and taking the hiring, seriously. Those are the ones who are going to get the good candidates. And the ones who just kind of play status quo and treat things how they were 2 years ago, they're going to suffer. So I think that reading this and having an open mind is going to be really something that'll benefit hiring managers, HR managers alike.
That open mind is critical right now, because even from one year to the next, the compensation has gone up drastically. I mean, it's, if you compare our two,
and every day
done that, but we're seeing it, if there's salaries that are a year old, they're really dated. And we hear a lot about inflation numbers these days, and anything you hear quoted doesn't compare with what we've seen in terms of salary increases collectively. And it's interesting to me as we talk now, because we realize how good of a position that we're in to share this information, both with candidates as well as hiring managers and HR professionals. And we were silent on this stuff for years, up until 3 years ago. It never occurred to us to be a voice that had this knowledge that the market could benefit from. But as a staffing company, now that we look at it differently, we realize we are in the perfect position to know this. I mean, all day, every day, we talk to candidates about their compensation needs and desires, and we talk to clients about their open positions and what it takes to get them filled. And we're in the perfect seat to see the struggles and successes and everything in between on both sides. So that's always our goal now that we're producing this information. And I think we hit the mark with this particular hiring guide, where not only did it give us a chance to really go through a lot of these positions, the common roles and the salaries, and to level set them, but to consider the different trends that are happening in the market right now. They're changing rapidly. So Haley, what kind of trends did we, just a little teaser, do we have in here?
Yeah, so like we're talking about showing your company culture on video. It's very hard because when you go into the office, it's easy to show people the company culture. That's another thing to describe it through a Zoom interview. So I think that's probably one of the key tips that we have in there, to how to exactly describe that to the person you are interviewing.
Perfect.
Yeah, like I said, the remote thing it's here to stay. And at first, at the beginning of the COVID, people were like, "Oh, this is going to be temporary. This is going to continue going forward into 2022, 23 and 4." People have shifted their thinking, and a lot of companies have put in this huge amounts of effort and money into creating a robust virtual infrastructure. They're not going to go back from that. So that's something that I think that it's going to be a hot topic going forward.
It is indeed. And as I mentioned a minute ago, the conference that I was at last 2 weeks ago was a staffing conference. So when I say everyone has the same things on their mind right now, I really mean it. And so if you're listening from an employer, take advantage of whoever your staffing company is, leverage them, pick their brains. We as an industry are really perfectly poised to share that feedback and insight. And as I keep saying, we didn't even realize how relevant and valid it was until a couple of years ago. And yeah, the market really needs it now more than ever because everyone's trying to figure it out as they go. I mean, it really is.
I mean,
crazy
we were
trends.
reluctant. We were reluctant to say anything to our, to our clients. And now, whereas a hiring manager, they see their own company that they're in. A client manager might talk to 5 different HR departments before lunchtime. You know, they've got a bird's eye view of it. And some of our you know, our biggest clients and the ones that are benefiting the most, they ask that I will pull, you know, salary data and send, you know, they'll have a job and I think it should pay X. And, you know, come to us, we can do a little bit of research and say, you know, actually it's gonna, you're gonna shift that, you know, pay up a couple dollars, and that's gonna make you a lot more competitive. And people have been, you know, really receptive to that. That's kind of part of what, you know, why we started adding so much stuff to the website in general.
Yep. Yeah, our 5 pages 3 years ago have blossomed a little bit,
Yeah.
to say the least. Well, that's it. I think that's a good overview of what we put on the new site. You're going to have to see it to really understand it, as well as the hiring guide. We do give it away for free. All we ask is that you enter your email address to download it. So you know, you can find all of this at fourcornerresources.com. As I mentioned earlier, we love feedback. We love feedback on articles, any research you'd like us to do, any you know, podcast topics that you'd like us to cover. Whether you are a recruiter, even a competitor of ours, that's fine. We're here to help. Or a corporate recruiter, a hiring manager, someone in HR who has compliance questions or legal questions, we have the experts at our disposal, and we have the knowledge and experience that we want to bring forward and just provide much needed information and content. So take us up on that, please. Hire calling at fourcornerresources.com. Haley, anything? And I'll ask you guys if you want to close with anything before we say goodbye. And I do want to thank you for coming on today and joining me, having one of our discussions we probably would have been having anyway about content.
Yeah, you can also find us on social media: Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, YouTube, even TikTok. Just search Four Corner Resources. I post a lot of posts daily on each to give some tips for all of our personas. So give us a follow.
Yes, please. Even TikTok, which is
Even TikTok. Yes.
I still have to get used to that one. Yes. Even TikTok. So yeah, Haley puts up great stuff daily. And again, if you're not seeing something that you think you'd benefit from, then respond, let us know. We'll get on it right away. We love feedback.
Absolutely. Yeah. That's giving us ideas for things to do. Like we've had feedback from some of our clients and some of our vendors. They're like, wow, you guys are really responsive. Some people just want to, like, they take it away. We are very involved. So yeah, let us know like things that you want us to cover, and we will oblige.
Perfect. All right. Well, you guys, thank you. Have a good weekend. Anyone out there listening, thank you for listening. We hope to hear from you, and we'll talk soon.